Alrighty. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the studio this evening where we're going to be painting. It's up here this time. Where's it at? That, or some semblance of that. Those are Chinese paper lantern flowers. I actually kind of think they're really neat. But I felt badly that last week I painted a lantern without realizing I should have waited until this week to do it. So I'm kind of doing a lantern. All right, I'm going to put it in quotes again this week, but I'll add a little floral element to it. Let's see. Reminder, we are broadcasting on the other side on Twitch here also. I'm monitoring them over here, so I might stop and say hello or read some text from them or some chats from them. What else is going on? I hope you all are doing great. The paper that I'm using today, if it looks a little different, it's got a little something on the back of it. That's not cool. I don't know what that is. Something sticky on my table. Is Baohong paper. 140 pound. This is the student grade paper. You can, well, I don't know if you can see it, but the edges are a little curled up. I bought it in a roll and unrolled it. Dampened it, moistened it, flattened it, and this is what I've ended up with. So we're going to use that, or we can talk about that as we go along. On my right hand side over here, the colors that I'm using are all my M-gram colors, and let me put the colors down over there so you can see exactly what colors I am using. And I'll probably use a selection of brushes this evening. I'm going to start with my King Art brushes. I love my King Art brushes. And I think I'm just going to kind of jump in. I'm going to try to start down here. I've got 5 of these lanterns on here. I'm going to start down on the bottom and work my way towards the top. I think I'm going to mix my own orange, or mostly try to mix my own orange. I'm going to start with some Pyrrol Red. I had to think for a minute what kind of red I had, and I'll mix in a little bit of this Hansa Yellow, a really cold yellow. It makes a nice orange. So Julian was here early. Hello, Julian. Liza's here. Anna-Juanita's here. Welcome. Wait a minute, Liza. Cheap Joe's is going out of business. Why is Cheap Joe's going out of business? That's not cool. No, they can't do that. That's not acceptable. I'm assuming they're going to have some kind of sales that we can all jump on over there. If that's true, I'm not really doubting you, but when did you hear that, Liza? I have not, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot. Is it going out nationwide, or is it? I don't know anything about this. Dwayne is here. Hello. Welcome. Oh, Liza, you just got the email today. Yeah, anybody who's just joining. Liza started by saying Cheap Joe's is going out of business. And it prompted me to say, wait, what? Why is that happening? I didn't know about that. I don't know if everybody did, but you might want to pop over to Cheap Joe's. You probably get some good last-minute deals, or I would hope you could get some good last-minute deals. Anyways, over there. And let's see, do I have any updates for you all this week? I'm trying to think. I don't have any big updates for everybody. Pumpkin is still doing well, my chicken. I think I shared with everybody. Pumpkin's having a little problem. She's egg bound and struggling a little bit, but she's hanging in there. Thankfully, she's not a young hen and not trying to produce an egg every day, and so she's hanging in there, or trying to hang in there. An update on the house. We had some more rain, and thankfully it rained outside and not inside. Speaking of rain, Dwayne, I'm hoping you've been able to clean up after the storms in your whole area that you live in. Have been able to clean up after the storms that blew through that area. Frightening storms. Hope everything is getting back to normal over there. Anybody doesn't know Dwayne's area of the country, they had some really bad winds and tornadoes over there. So, I hope everything's getting back to normal there. Maybe because Joe passed away. Cheap Joe? You think Joe may have passed away? Lindsay, what's her name? Wyrick? The Frugal Crafter knew before you got the email. She probably has a deal with them. Julian is here. Hello, Julian. Yes, that would have been great. It must be overwhelming. Dwayne, it was crazy, but yes. Okay. Oh, God, and more to come on Sunday. Holy cow. Well, hopefully, Dwayne, if you get anything on Sunday, it's a tiny bit of what you got before. Sending you some good thoughts over there. Hoping the best for everybody. As I'm doing this, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Anybody who came in just after the top here, I drew these out, and I drew these slightly different than the reference photo that you're going to see there, but I'm just putting on a base layer of color on these. I'm not trying to do everything. I'm not trying to make these super orange. I just want to get some basic color on these. Get it maybe a little mottled, not necessarily mottled, but not a solid color. We're going to add some interest to it, and then that difference in the color variation underneath hopefully add some variation or some interest at the end. So I'm just adding this on here. I am using, for those of you who weren't able to be here right at the start to hear me say it, I am using bow hung paper. This is the student grade paper. I don't think there's much difference between the student grade paper and the professional grade bow hung paper. The biggest thing that I have seen is that the pits in the paper, the texture in it seems to be a little stronger in the professional grade. And the paper just a tiny bit thicker, I think. A tiny bit thicker. That's all. And shoot, I think I can paint this last one up here. This one's behind a leaf here. And so as soon as I get this one done, I'm gonna stop and tell you all a little bit of something here. I actually drew this twice. It sounds funny. This is a very simple something to draw. Right? There really is not much to it, but I drew it trying to hold as true as possible to the reference photo, and I got it done, and I went, man, those lanterns look really small, and I didn't want that. So then I came back in and erased the lanterns. The leaves are roughly the same. I erased the lanterns themselves and redrew the lanterns. So if you look at the lanterns on mine and you look at the lanterns on the reference photo, the lanterns here are much bigger than the lanterns there. And I don't know if that comes through here or not. Okay, I've got a quick little bit done there. You know what? I don't have a quick little bit done. As I'm looking at this, my color's not quite all the way to the edge. Well, I guess it's not going to matter. We're going to put more on there anyways. No, really. Mr. Joe Miller passed away in 2023. He liked the watercolor. So Joe Miller was Cheap Joe? Let's see. I'm sure his life was richer thanks to his love of painting and color. I'm pretty sure. Mine is. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Let's see. What do I have to talk about? I don't know. So what I'm gonna do. Let's see. Let me put this. Let me put this up here. So, if you see these paper lanterns, if you never have seen these before, they're, I don't know what shape you call these, like an inverted teardrop shape, kind of, is the shape that they are. And then they have some ribbing around them. And that ribbing gives them some interest. You know, they're not just smooth. It gives them some interest. And then, normally the skin is like crepe paper, kind of. And then we've got our nice green leaves back there. So I actually, I'm trying to think about what would make a good painting and what wouldn't make a good painting. I took about half the leaves off of that. Right? In my way of thinking, I want everybody to look at the lanterns and the flowers are just there. I'm sorry, and the leaves are just there. But so I took about half of them off. Over on Twitch, there's somebody here. Show Me Art 22 says hello to you. I don't have my integration between the two exactly right, so I'm kind of just verbally talking between the two of them. Show me art. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them out there and I'll read them out and we'll all get a little bit of it. Let's see. For me this week is almost done. I'm happy to say. I'm taking Friday off. Does it have fruit inside? Liza says, does this have fruit inside? I don't believe so. You mean like a tomatillo would? I don't think it does. I don't believe so. I think it probably has some seeds inside, but I don't think you would eat these necessarily. Okay. Now, if I can hold this up, and you can see, for anybody who's never used the Bao Hong paper before, not that the M-Gram paint gets a lot of granulation. I have them specifically because it doesn't get a lot of granulation. But you can see that the paper is not that pitted in there. Or I hope you can see that the paper is not all that pitted. It's fairly smooth. While I'm waiting for this to dry, I have a sheet of the professional ones. Let me grab it real quick. This paper also came in wider, and I hope you can see if I hold this up. Look, it's much more pebbled. The pits are much bigger in this. I think you can see that. But the paper started out wider, so I just kind of cut it into a square. But this is kind of the size. Oh, it's white on white. This is kind of the size we're going to use in the coming weeks. It's much bigger. Eliza says, I love tomatillos. I found a recipe on the Mission Chip Company bag of chips. And it was for a tomatillo salsa recipe. And I went, yeah, all right, fine, I'll make it. Oh my, it was the best salsa I had ever had. Sorry, Michael. They do have fruit inside. It's bitter taste. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm not going to claim to be a paper lantern expert by any stretch. So, and I'm not doing a Google search right now to find out. Okay, so they're still a little bit wet. So if you know that, or you looked it up, then that's great. Illyria is here. Hello. So Susie, have you tasted them? Have you ever tried one? I'm curious. I obviously have not. Let's see. Let me get a little bit of my Phthalo Green and a little bit of, why do I do this? I need to wash my brush before I get my greens and my yellows. Okay, a little Phthalo Green and a little bit of Gamboge, a warm yellow, the warmest yellow I have. Let's make a nice light green with that. And Juanita, I can drink the salsa made from tomatillos. A serious addiction. Keep you off the salsa. Tomatillo salsa is really, really good. I saw it and I went, it's a tomatillo. It's like a weird tomato. I'm like, I don't want it. But I do like trying new things, and it's like, oh, okay, fine, I'll give it a try. We'll see how it is. Oh my, it was so good. So good. I would sit down with a bowl of that and eat that instead of dinner. That's how good it is. Not that I would suggest anybody do that, but I'm thinking about serious weakness for salsa and Frank's red hot sauce. And Susie says, not to my knowledge, never tasted it. Okay. Serious weakness for salsa and Frank's red hot. So, Illyria, do you like Frank's because it's tasty, or is that the hottest salsa that you will try or eat? Frank's is good, but I when I lean, hot sauce or whatnot, salsas, I tend to go a little hotter. I just had on Monday night. This is one of my favorite things. Had a pizza and put some scorpion pepper sauce on it, and it was some Melinda's. If you like hot sauce, Melinda's sauces are fantastic in my opinion. I put some scorpion pepper sauce on my pizza, and it was, well, one, it was hot. But it was fantastic. I got for Christmas, I got a 3-pack of hot sauces from Melinda's because I like hot sauce. And that obviously was, or maybe not obviously, but that was one of them. And it's so good. Melinda's does such a good job with their hot sauce. I don't know if it quite makes it up to Melinda's Ghost Pepper is fire, Dwayne says, and it is. I have that one too. Actually, I took that one to work. I'll put it on my food at work. It's in the fridge there. That one is really good too. The Ghost Pepper. Yeah, one of the kids who works in there got the Ghost Pepper ketchup from Melinda's, and that's pretty spectacular. Pretty spectacular. All right, I don't want to. I'm not gonna paint. Well, yeah, all right. I'm gonna paint around these. I'm not gonna paint around these too much. I'm not gonna paint through the middle of these too much. I'm gonna paint around these so much. Interesting conversations we have here. We've gone to hot sauces here. They are the best. Tony says they are the best. They are. Yes, Frank's is tasty and not as hot as many. I like it for its taste. Okay, cool. My youngest loves Tapatio. Tried the scorpion pepper sauce, but really likes Tapatio because it's not quite as hot, and it is pretty tasty sauce. Personally, I'd rather have the Melinda's Scorpion or Ghost Pepper, or I have the Extra Reserve hot sauce. Pretty good too. Melinda's has a perfect texture and flavors. I like that Melinda's doesn't put a lot of other stuff that's not the pepper in their pepper sauce. They stick mostly to just the pepper. All right, so got a few. You can see a couple of greens on here. Things are starting to look a little better. Eliza says, we use Frank's a lot. Lara, I've never tried it. If you've never tried it, you're so missing out. That's the Frank's hot sauce. Frank's is pretty good. Liza, I will get some Melinda's. Watch what you get. Don't get the super hot stuff if you're not into super hot stuff, because it gets pretty warm pretty quickly. My dad and brothers used to have contests to see who could eat the most hot peppers. Nuts. Liza says, where can I find Melinda's? I don't know. I get it at the grocery store. They sell it here. They sell 6 or 7 bottles of it here. I don't know if it goes national. I'm pretty sure Amazon has it if you're an Amazon person. There's some YouTube channels where a host interviews a famous person and they both eat hot wings. Yeah, it's isn't it called Hot Wings or Hot Licks or something like that? Yeah. And they answer a question and then they go to the next hotter sauce. And they answer a question and then they go to the next hotter sauce. Yeah, that's sometimes hysterical, and it's all done with celebrities, and it's always interesting to see which celebrities will go all the way to the hottest hot sauces and which ones won't. Dwayne says Red Savina is good. So I haven't had Melinda's Red Savina, but I do like the flavor of Red Savina peppers. They're fantastic. Dwayne V says some Melinda's at Walmart or World Market. Okay, there you go. Dwayne, my son got me one called Flatline from a pepper shop in Kentucky. Burn a hole in my tongue. I used to have death sauce. My kids got me death sauce one year. It sounded pretty terrible, but it was actually pretty good stuff. Okay, so I think we've got some. These flowers have dried enough. I'm not sure the name, but it's quite something to watch. How uncomfortable the guests. Oh yeah, how the guests, how uncomfortable they are. It's time that we start to do two things. We've got to decide what's in shadow and what is dark on these, and start layering in some colors. Oh, I should say one thing before I go on, because I'm going to move this all around, and I happen to flip over to. I have two virtual windows on my work desktop. One that's got work stuff on it and one that's got personal stuff on it. And I was flipping over to read the news, because the news right now is pretty interesting, to say the least. And so I was flipping over to see the news, and I usually have a tab open for YouTube, because there might be something I want to see there, and they will suggest different things to me from time to time, as they do for everybody else. Right? Nothing special there. Anyways, a Thomas Schaller video populated part of my YouTube feed, and I looked at it and I went, okay, Thomas Schaller, he's really pretty good. I think I'll take a look to see what he's painting. And so I was watching him, and I was very enheartened, because Thomas Schaller taped his page down about the same size as this, maybe a little bigger, what he was painting this particular time. And then he proceeded to move the whole thing as he was painting it to make it easier for him. So I just use that as a justification that I'm in good company when I turn my page, if I have to get things going. All right, just throwing some color on here just to get some started, and we'll. Dwayne says you love watching Thomas Schaller videos. If nobody's ever seen Thomas Schaller paint, he's exceptionally good. He does this thing where all of his paintings are a play on warm and cold and light and dark, and he does it in an exceptionally good way. I'm a big fan. He starts upside down often. Yeah, he does. If he's, whoa, I got a big blob of water. If he's doing painting a sky, yeah, he'll start it upside down so that the water drains to the top, flows to the top a little bit, and then he'll let it dry slightly and then flip it over and keep right on going from what is the new bottom, what was the old top, and right on up. Yeah, if you've never watched Thomas Schaller, he's really fantastic. And if you like, I wouldn't say he's particularly a modern painter, but he has captured the style of watercolors, the modernist movement of watercolors. Maybe that's the modernist is a better way to say it. Liza, you saw a whole video that he painted it upside down and made it no sense until he turned it upright. I've seen some of those. Typically, they're speed painters or street artists, and you're right. You're like, what? Have no idea what you're doing, and then all of a sudden they turn it over, and you're like, that's fantastic. Eliris says, it's always interesting to see whether an artist chooses a darker version of the undercolor or the complementary color or a reflected color for shadows. All very complex to decide. That's true. And my light over there just went out. I hope my light here is still enough. The rest of my studio is kind of in darkness here. Let's see, I'm imagining light coming this general way, which is why I'm starting on painting the side of these that I am painting. And I'll just let you know, I don't have any idea how I'm doing shadows. I'm just dropping some color on here. I'm just putting some color on here, and I'm hoping it's all going to work out, and I'm pretty sure that it will in some way, shape, or form. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. We're going to end up with something that still looks fantastic in the end. Oh, and I do have Dwayne, I do have an update for you. I do have an update for you. Everybody else can kind of tune out for 2 minutes or something. I went fishing over the weekend, and it started to get warm here. It started to warm up, which is fantastic. Finally, it's about time. So I thought I would throw some bigger baits in the water rather than a little smaller one. I use the trick worm a lot. You're a fan of the trick worm. I love the trick worm. But I decided to tie on an 8-inch KVD bull worm and throw that out there to see if I would catch anything. A little afraid because it's huge. But the good news is I caught 3 fish that were 3 pounds or more. with it, specifically with that bullworm. And I was completely pleasantly surprised, did not expect it to happen. Just kind of did it as an experiment and had a fantastic outcome. So I don't know if in your area of the country, well, you're probably warmer than I am, but I don't know if the fish have caught up to where they're at here quite yet, especially with the storms you've been having. But it's the guys that kind of hang around here. They're all like, well, you have to throw small baits in the winter. You can't throw big baits. And I kind of went, I'm going to challenge that. And I think my challenge was successful. Because the guys that I normally, I don't always fish with them, but I fish compete against them, if that makes any sense. You know, we all touch base in the office on Monday or Tuesday and talk about what we did. They got skunked over the weekend, and I caught fish all weekend long. Awesome, the bullworm is unique. Some of these newer lures and baits get huge. They do get huge. I don't want to throw anything bigger than that. That's, I think, plenty big enough. Maybe. I don't know. I say I don't want to. I still might. Yeah, some of the baits get huge nowadays. But anyways, wanted to give you a report. Okay, and now, good catches. Thank you. And now back to watercolor painting. I'm using, right now, I'm using just red as the dark area of these. And I'm using yellow as the lighter area of these. And you can tell. And I hope that what you can see on these, like this bit now looks, or you can imagine that the light's coming down here, and so this is darker. Maybe this is a little flatter piece, or maybe just slightly turned towards the light, and a little bit of dark over here. We might have to go back and darken that up, and some down here, and the same thing over here. Clear lake, maybe. It was somewhat murky, somewhat stained water. I could probably see 5-6 feet, would be my guess. Something like that would be my guess. I'm going to go back. I do have some video. I did take some video. I'm going to compile it probably Friday when I'm not at work, and I'll put up a well, I'll probably fish Friday morning. Would I will I'll put a I'm probably going to put a fishing video up, not here, of course. I have a fishing channel too. On at least one this weekend. I might do two. No, I didn't go to Casitas. Lake Casitas is a nice big lake. It's about, Lake Casitas is probably 70 miles, 60 miles from where I'm at right now. Maybe a little more. Yeah, that's probably about right. It's probably close. There's usually some good bass and trout fishing in there. But no, I didn't go up there. I just went to my home lake, which is Whale Rock, and just enjoyed it. It was a beautiful day. A beautiful day on Sunday. It hit, I have to say, summer is kind of here for us. It hit about 72, 73 when I was out there. I looked at the thermometer on my car. I'm trying to remember. It was in the low to mid 70s when I got into my car. Just absolutely wonderful, sunny, clear. The wind did pick up a little bit, which I don't like. But a wonderful day nonetheless. Okay, so we're getting some interest on some of these as we go through. And I know some of you, some others here. Oh, look, I started talking about fishing and my numbers immediately tanked. Oh, man. Some of you here also like to fish from time to time. I think that's cool. I'll invite everybody to come fishing with me. Please Come fish with me. I think it'd be fantastic. We'll all have a good time. Liza says it's still in the 40s. Yeah, Liza, two things, Liza. I'm a lot further south than you, and we never get cold. We never get cold here. If it's in the 40s, that's winter. That's deep in the heart of winter for me. Not I, said the fly. I'm a girly girl. That's cool too. That's totally cool too. I only have a couple of people I talk fishing with. You know, there's a couple of people at work. My family has heard all about it, and they're like, yeah, okay, good. I got it. Thanks. So now that I know that that Dwayne likes to fish, so I'm gonna be corresponding with Dwayne over the summer. We're gonna talk some fishing. I'll try to keep the fishing here to a minimum. Let's see. We all need 70s. No. You can have some of our 70s. I'd be happy to share. I went out 2 weekends ago, and I was like, oh, this is going to be tough. When I got to the lake, it was 39. And I went, it's supposed to warm up. I'm not gonna wear a jacket. I'll just tough it out for the first couple of hours. And by the time I think 8 o'clock hit, it was in the mid 50s. I know I always say it's so warm and nice here, and then everybody gets it's like, why do you talk about that like that? It's still cold here. It's still cold there. I'm sorry, but it's fun. That will happen in June here. We all need 70s. Liza says, Dwayne, where I live, spring lasts one day. We go from cold to humid. Liza, I totally remember that. I grew up in Ohio. Our spring was exactly like that. It was cold. Winter jackets, boots, galoshes, mittens, gloves, whatever you could wear. And then the next day it would be 80 and you're out in shorts and a t-shirt. And then 2 days later it would be freezing again. And somewhere in the middle of all that, springtime arrives, and then it's just hot and humid for 3 months or 4 months or whatever. I tell the guys that I work with, I'm like, you all lived in California your whole life. You don't understand the power that springtime has, because we don't really have a springtime here. You're cold all winter long. It's freezing all winter long. And that first spring day hits and you go crazy. You're like, oh, it's so nice. And everybody wants to go outside. And everybody wants to do something outside. And it's just like this huge release. And then of course, you know, it snows the next day, but that's fine. At least you had that little bit of springtime. Yeah, we also have rain and snow in the same day, either together or in separate doses. Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't miss that at all. I'm sorry. I will say that sometimes I talk about it, and it's like we have idyllic weather here, and in some ways we really do, but I miss some of the fun weather. It's just, it's going to be the same here now, from now until October. It's going to be exactly the same. It'll be no different. It'll get up into, well, here where I live on the coast, it'll get into the mid to upper 60s. all summer long. Some days will be foggy and overcast. Some days will be slightly sunny. And in the winter, or I mean at night, it'll be cool into the low 50s, high 40s, and the fog clears up and you can see the stars. Inland where I work, it'll be almost the same, except it'll get up to, I don't know, 80 in tops. No change. Yes, I know. Everybody goes, I would love that. And I don't hate it. But what you guys have, right? You have the change of the weather in the fall. Everybody loves the change of weather in the fall. We don't have that. Right? You don't get up one day and it's brisk and blustery and the colors on the leaves start to change. We just don't have that. We have some days where it'll just kind of barely start to get a little cooler and a little cooler, and after a couple of months then you'll go, oh, I think fall is kind of here. That's quite interesting. It's a weird, I'm not complaining, it's just weird, it's odd. Hey Larry says, here it becomes an oven all summer long. And the evenings are a slightly cooler oven, but it's still an oven. Oh my God. I remember sleeping many nights in Ohio with all the windows open in my bedroom. No blanket, no sheets, just in shorts going, oh, can I get any kind of puff of wind? Can there be any breeze? Please, a breeze. So I do know what you're talking about. I just have moved out of that. Not in my wheelhouse anymore, but Lyra, I do love your definition. It's an oven, and then at night, it's a slightly less hot oven. It's an oven that's been turned down from 400 to about 375. I totally remember that. All right, let's see. So, having painted some of the flowers here, I'm going to start to paint a little bit of these leaves, and I'm going to do it in very much the same way. You just made it into my quote file. Please, a breeze. That's it. I'm going to start to do some of the same with these leaves here. So this one is actually 2 leaves. This one's in back behind, but darker where I think there is going to be a shadow, a little lighter where I think there is not a shadow, or at least less light, and then we don't need to have like true less color on it, but let's, like the saturation level of the color doesn't need to be less. We can keep that, but let's just change the temperature of it a little bit. Add some yellow to it. Should help add a little bit of life to whatever we're painting, and go from there. And if I'm looking at it and I don't like it, as long as it's still wet a little bit, I can go back and just modify that as much as I really want. I'm going to change this one a little bit and put a little color on, and pull a little color, put a little color, put a little color on and pull a little color off. Let's try it that way, if need be. Let's see. Is that wet there? No, I can do this whole leaf up here. So the green that I'm using, right, I'm mixing it. And Liza, I know you love green. So let's talk greens for a minute. A little bit of this Phthalo Green because I love Phthalo Green. and a little bit of Gamboge. And that makes a lovely, lovely green color. If we do, let's do this, right? Come on, give me a sheet of paper. Let's do this. If I got to get a little bit bigger brush for this. You can all see that? Okay, cool. A little bit of Phthalo Green, which I love, or Winsor Green if you use Winsor Newton. And a cold yellow. And we're going to get this super vibrant yellow color. There we go. Right, so that's Phthalo Green and a warm yellow. We use Phthalo Green and mix it with a warm yellow. Oops, maybe I might need a little bit more. There you go. You're going to get a much more muted, a much more natural green color out of it, right? This one, maybe let's do it that way. This one, if you want to do highlights or something, if you're painting AstroTurf, great color, right? If you want to do something a little bit more natural, a warmer color that you mix in there would be wonderful. And then if I just mix in a full orange, let's do a full orange, right? I guess an orange is like the warmest yellow you're going to get if we kind of break it down that way, right? Here's my Azo Orange here. And you can see it's going to actually blend down into a grayish brown color. There you go. Look at that. So you can see easily 3 different tones, whoops, of yellow or of greens there by mixing a cold yellow, a warm yellow, or in this case, an orange. Right? And if you put just a little bit less of that Phthalo Green in there, then you're going to get a little bit less of, oh man, my color ran a little bit. You're going to get a little less of that iridescent color. So I know that Liza from time to time fights with green because she thinks green doesn't like her. So if I can help you out with green, Liza, I'm happy to do that. And then of course, if you mix it on the page here, let the colors mix and kind of get happy on the page over here, we can get something that really is going to look even more alive. Look at that leaf. Got some beautiful yellow in there. I actually think I need to put a little bit more of this green in a couple of places here. I think that's lovely. I actually really like that. So I did this one in half and half because this one I can definitely see the stem in there, inside there. These other ones I kind of can't. The way I see them is they're kind of folded up like this, long ways. So I didn't really do it that way. Let's see, I got one here. Is any of this making any sense? I hope some of it's making sense. Let me paint all along the bottom of this one, all along the bottom. And then I'm going to come back with a yellower, a warmer color along the top. We'll let these blend in together. Come up with something that looks really nice. Or that I hope, anyways, looks really nice. the true test, right, is when it dries. What does it look like when it dries? Not necessarily what does it look like while it's still wet. I'm going to pull some of these out. There we go. I like that. I like that, just going out like that. I love that little bit of yellow in there. I think it really helps to set it off. Okay. I got to move this off my desk. Because if I don't, I know I'm going to bump it and it's going to run on everything. This one is going to be another winner. Thank you. The veins and the leaves and the lanterns are very realistic. Well, I've only got one little vein here so far in these leaves. Let's see how it turns out. Drying certainly is the true test. Yes. Drying sometimes leads to crying. Hopefully it won't tonight. Let's find out. It's going to be fine. It's totally going to be fine. I have faith that it's all going to work out somehow. It's going to work out somehow. Oh, I forgot to mention, because I just thought about it. And I started it over here. There we go. Now we got a nice vein in there, and that that leaf looks really fantastic. I'm gonna hope that it's gonna dry like that. So Tracy hasn't been here for a while, and I came into the studio, and you guys know I have I don't know what it's called, vaporizer over here. The thing you put scent in and it makes things smell nice. You turn it on and Mister, is that what? I don't know what it's called. But I was like, I'm gonna put some another excellent quote. I'm gonna put some what do I normally put in eucalyptus and spearmint together in there. I think it's got a fantastic smell. Put it in there, put some water in, turn it on, and I was like, man, we haven't seen Tracy in a while. I hope she's doing okay. I'm sure she's doing okay. I'm not going to allow belief that she is not. How about that? I'm sure she's doing fine. We just haven't seen her in a while. I've been busy and haven't even checked in on her channel. I don't know what is going on with it. To know if she's still actively posting stuff or not, but I'm going to have to believe she's still fine, doing well, but I think I'm going to take that as an action item for myself. I sound like I'm at work all of a sudden. A diffuser, thank you. To check in on her and send her some good wishes. I hope she's doing well. And there we go. We got somebody over. King Pengu, kind Pengu. Hello, over on. Oh my God, my brain. Over on Twitch, kind Pengu. Hello. Thanks for joining. I'm still working out some kinks. Rebroadcasting between Twitch and YouTube. I'm not using Restream or any service like that. So I'm still working a few things out. But if you have any questions about me or about my painting or my style or anything like that, please ask away. I love answering questions. It's part of why I do these live streams, because that is a fun thing to do. Larry, you had to look it up. You couldn't remember. It was a diffuser either. She's a super artist. She can draw, like, talking about Tracy, she can draw way better than I can ever hope to. Oh my. Yeah, she's very good. Very good. So I'm gonna hope she's doing well. I'm sure she is. I'm sure that she is. There we go. We got. So I'm using. So I used on this side over here on this one a mixture of, what did I say, Pyrrol Red and Gamboge, and on this side I'm just using some straight Azo Orange. I want the color to be a little bit different in there. I want to be able to differentiate these two pieces a little bit. And then I'm going to just, on this side, just going to drop in a little color. I have to keep reminding myself, I have smaller brushes. I don't have to use that giant brush that I've been using all the time. They make smaller brushes. It's okay to use them. There's nothing against it. And they put paint on just fine, too. Get a little bit more color on here. And sometimes I do like this little bit smaller brush. You certainly can get into some finer areas with it. I just kind of get in the habit of grabbing one brush and going with it. And unless there's a big need for another brush, I kind of forget to change sometimes. There, how's that look? Does that one look okay? I think that's going to look okay. This one back here probably looks good. Yeah, I think that looks good. So I'm gonna ask. My wife has some suggestions about what I should do, but I'm gonna ask: does anybody have any suggestions for what we can paint next week? Anybody? Is there anything anybody's dying to see that we paint? I think that's the better way to ask that question. Does anybody have anything that they think it's a challenge and they want to do it, but they really want to see how somebody else does it? I feel in a challenge mood. If you remember Jennifer Newman, she came in here a couple of times. Friend of mine from Australia. A rusty tractor in an overgrown field. I like that. I think I've done a couple of tractors, but I do like that. I tend to keep a couple of tractor pictures around just in case I want to paint them, because one, tractors are cool, and two, rust is pretty cool. I definitely like that suggestion. Let's see, Elira, I gotta buy some small brushes that are on the stiff side. Still looking small, like a natural hair brush or a synthetic brush. What kind of brush are you looking for? I mean, other than a stiff-haired brush, stiff-bristled brush. Yeah, I'm not wild about that. Well, I'll live with it. I'm not wild about it, but I'm going to live with it. I'm going to put some yellow right up here. Whichever. I guess the next question is, how much do you want to spend on brushes? I do watercolor and gouache. And I also love to paint with watercolor pencil. So, okay. So, look, I wouldn't ever tell you not to get these brushes that I'm using. I don't get paid for this. Thank you, King Art. You could throw some sponsorship down my way. I love your brushes. They're pretty, you know, they're not stiff, but they come right back to a good point every time. But they're just in essence, they're just a golden tackle-on brush. Right? If you like tackle-on, you can get those. The other one is not golden tackle-on. It's those white bristled brushes. I'll tell you what. Let's see. No. Well, this might not be the best one to share. This might not be the best one to talk about because it looks funny up here. It's because I manually cropped the hair on it. So it would look more like this. It's just not a pointed round. It was just a round brush. But these are University Series brushes, and they're that white synthetic fiber. And these are like twice as stiff as the ones I normally use. They're quite stiff, but I do like these. If I need to do any kind of scrub work or something, I'll grab one of those and do it with that. I typically don't do a whole lot with stiffer brushes, so I can't suggest too much. Or won't, I should say it that way, I won't suggest too much. I tend to like somewhat softer brushes, but maybe just not quite as soft as squirrel hair. I do like squirrel hair brushes, but squirrel hair is about as soft as I want to go. Sometimes I think squirrel hair brushes are a little too soft, and they could do by mixing a little bit with something else. What's the name for the white one? The white bristle or the brushes that I have? These are Winsor and Newton University Series brushes. And I've got about a dozen of them. And I think I bought them, honestly, I think I bought them about 20 years ago. And I bought a lot of brushes since then. And some have come and some have gone, and these ones have stayed. So far, I like the golden tackle-on the best. I do too. I'm liking the, Sherry says, I'm liking the Chinese lanterns. They're getting there, right? A little bit of work here, a little bit of work there. I put color on this segment here, and now I know I need to come back in and re-darken this one, but, excuse me. But I do like, they have that quality that I like, that's called that watercoloriness, right? That flowiness to them, that color that just kind of blends from one color into the next. I really like, I like how these are coming out. And I like the leaves too. The leaves actually I like better here than I do up there. But I like the way the leaves look too. But I knew I was going to be able to do this with these. I cheated a little bit. I've painted paper lanterns before. All right, I don't know if that's really cheating, but I've painted paper lanterns before. And I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do with them, or what I thought I could do with them. And I think I'm mostly executing it. At least I hope I am. The watercoloriness. Watercoloriness should be in the dictionary. It should be a term that we all talk about. It's one of those things, we all know what it is, and we all have a little trouble defining it. But you definitely know it when you see it. We all know watercoloriness. Cool. And I love, well, orange is one of my favorite colors. So I do like painting things that are orange. Orange holds a place in my heart a little bit. So there we go. So you're looking at this and you're going, why do I have these white lines? Those are the stems that are going to come through here a little bit. And as I'm looking at this, I got a couple of these areas that I need to darken a little bit more, right? We got some shadowy area over here. So I should say at this point in time that I really think this paper is working for me and not against me, right? And that's a big thing. It's so easy for watercolor paper to not be really good and to work against you. I put this little bit of color on over here, and it would be easy for the paper just to soak that color in, and then I get a hard line there, and it'd be difficult to work from here on out. But this bao hong paper, and this, I'm sure this is one of the reasons why everybody likes it so much. This bao hong paper is hanging in there. It's allowing me, it's giving me that extra 30 seconds of time, that extra minute of time that I can put on a little extra color, and then I can come back and really play with this color and push it around before it soaks in and my time is up. I've got a tide line and I've got some frustration. It's really working for me. It's really doing its job. Also, there's something to note that Winsor Newton universities haven't been made in England for a decade or so, but they're still decent. Interesting. And Juanita, I'm assuming they are made in China now. Is that a leaf just above the top lantern? Right here? Yes, there is a leaf here. I just haven't painted it yet. There is a leaf right there. Yeah, let's ask that question. Where would you like to buy your brushes from? That should be a question. I do have some really nice brushes that I got. It's a happy night. The small brushes are about $4. There you go. I do know that they sell university brushes, or they do at mine anyways, sell the university brushes at Michael's. So if that's a consideration for you, that might be one more thing to check out. And those university brushes are stiffer than like a snap brush. If you've ever played with a snap brush is a little bit, less stiff than that. I got some wonderful brushes, Rubloff brushes. They're made in Odessa, And they are actually really wonderful. I actually wrote to the company and said, hey, I think I really want to try these brushes. And they were nice enough to send me a couple of brushes to test out, and was not disappointed in them in the least. I have 2 sets of those brushes. I don't think you can get those just anywhere. You might have to get those on eBay. But well-made brushes, great feel, great water retention in them. Just one more thing. Again, I'm not really pushing any of these. I'm just throwing out a couple of suggestions out there. And these are going to be like super fire hot. These paper lanterns. Ooh, these are bright. They're red, they're orange, they're yellow. They're going to be little firecrackers when we're done with them here. I probably dipping a little too far into the red when it comes to a color on these, but I'm okay with that. I think it gives them a nice hot look, and I'm good with it. Oh, I like, yeah, see, I really like the way these are actually looking right now. I guess I'm okay with them being a little more fiery looking. Let me put a little bit more color right in here. Right along that line. I'm going to take that up even a little higher. Right like that. Oh, I like that better. It extends that line up that little bit. And now I've really made a break between these two hemispheres. I don't know what you call these. These 2 panels, kind of. I really made a difference between those 2 there. Yep. The red is perfect. The Rhapsodies from Jerry's... Rhapsodies brushes from Jerry's Art-O-Rama. Not good, apparently. The red is perfect. I believe they're made in France. Oh, interesting. So... interesting. The British university brand brushes are made in France. Potentially. That's interesting. All right, we'll get some red that comes up here. That's going to help to define these 2. I don't want to dip into, I would normally dip into a little bit of a, like this maroon, and throw a little maroon in there. I'm a little reluctant to do that. And I'm not sure why. Long day. That's all good. Sorry, I was wrong, guys. I think it's about the paint. Wait. Oh, Aliz says, I have a Princeton snap, and it's nice, but I could deal with something stiffer than that even. Okay, yeah. I don't think I have any snap. I think I've gotten rid of all my snap brushes. I can't pull one out to even show what it would look like right now, or the difference between them. I just looked. It would have it over here. I don't seem to see it, which is why I don't think I have one right now. I have a Princeton Select brush, but it's not the snap brush, and I don't know. I'm not convinced that they're exactly the same. Oh yeah. See, I like some of this. It's very exciting. It's looking very exciting. Let's see. I'm going to come up here. All right, give me something even a little darker here. Or down the bottom, I'm willing to be a little bit darker on some of the stuff down here. I'm going to mix just a little bit of that olive in with things. The olive green. Come on, come on, come on. Should just bring it down a little bit. Fields Beyond over on Twitch says, I love that you show both your painting and the palette. Thank you. Yeah, right? Why would you not, right? There's not really any secret about mixing any paint or finding the right paint. I'm happy to show everybody exactly what I use, exactly how I do it. I want everybody to know exactly what I'm doing. There shouldn't be any real, there shouldn't be any kind of surprises when anybody does anything. There shouldn't be any reason to hold anything back as people are painting or trying to figure out what they're painting or how they're painting. There's no point in any of that. Just going to get all this going. That's going to have some good watercoloriness in there. What do we have? I got two leaves here yet to do, huh? Okay. Let's get these two. All right, so one other thing I really like about this bow hung paper, the student grade, is that it's not all that textured, right? And if I want to do a hard line or a straight line in here as I'm doing it, with this paper, super simple, super easy to do. With the professional paper, when we move on to using that, I'm not convinced it's always that easy. The texture on that is closer to a rough paper. It's much closer to a rough paper and makes it a bit harder to get a tight line. It's probably be a lot better for like a landscape or something like that, where you're not necessarily looking for a perfect edge. But for something like this, that'd be pretty tough. Be pretty tough. There we go. And if that leaf doesn't look perfect, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing that says it has to be perfect. Oh, Sherry, you have some silver black velvet brushes. Everybody loves them. Everybody loves silver black velvet brushes. And I can't figure out why everybody loves silver black velvet brushes. I get it, but I don't get it. I have silver black velvet brushes. They're very nice brushes. But I don't use them. I don't find myself compelled to use the silver black velvet brushes. They're very nice brushes. There's just nothing about them that I like and nothing about them that I dislike. They're to me, they're kind of an enigma. I get it. They're absolutely fine brushes. I have not one issue with the brushes at all. I just can't. Personally, I don't see what's special about them, why people continue to want to use them. But that's a me thing. Let's see, Liza, I've learned, you've learned through trial and error, your best work comes with cotton paper. And trial and error probably is the best way to do it. I've had some paintings that I thought have been really good in wood pulp paper. But I will admit, it takes a lot more work to do it in wood pulp paper than it does to do it with cotton paper. Cotton paper 1,000 times easier to do it. Now, I say that completely knowing that, you know, my style isn't exactly the same as everybody else's style. Everybody else's style is different. And there are many styles that probably that wood pulp paper will fit best with. And quite honestly, there's probably a lot of pocketbooks, mine included, that wood pulp paper fits best with. So I would never discourage anybody and say you can't use it. You can. Plenty of good reasons to use wood pulp paper for your watercolor paintings, if that's what you want to do. But I think you're right, Liza. In my case, anyways, I'll say I think you're right. Many of my better paintings have come via cotton paper. I'm starting to think that the brushes are like the Goldilocks bed. You just got to find a few, you get the one that's just right. I'm totally going to agree with that too. I think that's why when I've got these, what are these? King art brushes. They feel right to me. They look right to me. They operate as I expect them to. They're not the highest price brush out there. They're probably not the best brush out there. But for me, whatever the reason is, they resonate. And that in itself is worth its weight in gold. That alone will help you paint better. If you have the confidence in your tools, that's half the battle. It really is half the battle. Absolutely. Somehow wood pulp works best with the coating off of it. I don't know about that. Liza, how are you getting the coating off of your wood pulp paper? Oh, how are you doing that? That would be if I'm thinking about it right, wood paper without a coating on it is called book. Is it not? I thought wood pulp paper without a coating on it is called book. The type of paper is called book. I could be wrong. And book has little to no sizing on it. It's very much just a paper. It's just very much it's almost like cartridge paper, only it's as thick as watercolor paper. But somebody can say whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong on that, but I think that's what it is. Okay. All right. So I like where we're at with this. A couple of extra things that I might want to do here. Right. I'm going to extend this line out a little bit. Probably got a little heavy-handed with that. Now I feel like I have to go back in and fix that. I'm just going to go this whole thing. I'm going to double down on color right down here. See if that'll fix things. You soak it. Interesting. Congratulations, Julian. Wait a minute. Julian said, I'm having a good day. I just found out I advanced to regionals. Okay, hold on, Julian. You gotta tell us more. First of all, congratulations. That's fantastic. Second of all, hold on. What are we, all of us, what did you advance to regionals in? I want to know. But first of all, it doesn't matter. Good job. Good job. I think it's fantastic to start with, but I'm curious. I'm just going to add a little bit of extra color onto some of this, and I don't know. I don't want to take away too much of that cool watercolor look in there. And if I play with it a little bit, I'm going to lose a little bit, but I don't want to. So I like this one down here. It almost looks like weird, like, I don't know, like chili peppers or something, doesn't it? It has an interesting look to it. I like it. Well, it has an interesting look to it. I'm gonna put a little bit of color here, right? So let's say this is half of this. This half is a little bit darker over here. Right? We said the light was coming in from this direction, so I'm going to add a little bit of darkness on this side. It's all kind of in the dark over there. I get that. So I don't want to change it too much. I'm going to change it a little bit. Something like this. Dwayne says, it looks cool. Thank you, Dwayne. Do I need to do too much else? I'm gonna do this. All right, come on, give me a little extra color here. Some of this olive green in here. Tone down this phthalo way down. And then I'm gonna come back in here, and you could do this in blue if you wanted to. You could do this in a dark green if you wanted to. And I'm going to drop some shadow lines on these stalks. And I'm not going to worry for once if I get a bit of a tide line on here. Not really worried about it. But I want to get a little bit of color on some of these just to darken it up. And I don't even know if you can see that. It's pretty subtle. I tried to get dark, but it's pretty subtle nonetheless. Maybe I'll add a little bit of extra dark on this guy. Over here, make those two leaves stand out a little bit. I advanced to regionals in current events and issues. Cool. A scholarly pursuits. I like that. Well, that's fantastic. A what line? Did I say so? Oh, a tide line. A tide line. Yes, a tide line. I'm sorry. A hard edge. Same thing. A hard edge. Just as this is all blended out and there's almost no hard edges here, if you leave it, well, like right, whoop. Let's get it back on camera. That's a hard edge where it comes and stops, right? I guess that's a hard edge too, but the paint just stays there. Down here, I didn't do anything to stop that. That's a hard edge. I didn't blend it out. So, if you could eat that, you would. That's Okay, so oh, you know what? I just looked at this. I got one whole thing right here that needs to be taken care of. Look, somebody let me go without painting extra on here. Give me a little bit of orange. I got one whole lobe hemisphere thing over here that needs some help. Let's get some help for this one. There. That was quick. That was easy. Pretty painless. All right, I think that's about it for me for tonight. I actually really like that. It's a simpler picture, but I think it has some... I'm going to sign it right here. But it has some fieriness to it. It's definitely warm, right? It's definitely a summertime thing. Down south, Southeast Asian, somewhere tropical maybe. I don't know, South America. It definitely looks like it's a plant in a warm area. The warm greens, the warm reds and yellows through here. And it does look like it kind of pops off the page. And even though it's simple, right, I like the composition. It's, oh look, I said I didn't have a snap brush. I got one on my desk. It's an angle shader, but yeah, it's a little less stiff. I think the bristles are a little finer, maybe. And yeah, it's not much stiffer. A little bit. Anyway, you can... I pulled this up to use it as a pointer more than anything. A little bit about the composition, right? I searched and searched for a picture. I like that this has a motion to it without moving, right? Basically, you have an S shape. It has an S shape, and you have things that are clearly behind and in front, behind and in front, behind and in front. So you've got some depth issues. So in addition to movement this way, you've got movement this way. And it helps add to the painting. Is it a little simple? Yes, it's a little simple. But does that mean it doesn't have a good look to it? Nope. I think it has a fantastic look to it. So I like it. Some of the things I really like this leaf up here. I actually like this leaf here. This one and this one might be my favorite two of the pods. I think they look great. And I actually really like that hot color. So I really like it. I hope you guys really like it. Elira, it's beautiful. You would hang it in my kitchen. Well, you might get it. Maybe I'll send it to you and you can put it in your kitchen. And you can send me a picture of it. How's that? Liza says, I do love the movement. I tried when I try to find pictures, I try to find pictures that aren't as static as they can be and have somewhat of a little bit movement to them. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys this evening. I hope that you had a good time because I certainly had a good time. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I hope you're able to come back and be here with me next Wednesday when we do this whole thing again. Until then, everybody, take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.